Are the badges on your channels global? I don't know. I have no clue. I think they're global.
Playing DPS Cloak and Dagger.
Oh. Okay. Well,
Which hero do you think you want to be
okay. Yeah, I think it's time to switch accounts.
I'll fight
Yeah, I think it's time to switch accounts.
Now, who am I gonna banish from this
Oh,
match?
Juan, are you online? I'm ready when you are, by the way. I think it's time to switch accounts. Cause what did he just say?
The darkness that spawned me.
Hello.
What's up?
I was C1 yesterday, dude.
That's unfortunate. What happened?
I say I'm playing DPS Cloak and Dagger, and then people run my game down.
I mean, can you blame them? You're like,
I don't blame them. I'm just sad, dude. They don't even try. Everyone has a corrupt brain worm, so they don't think Cloak is a good hero.
I mean, that's kind of a compliment. They believe in you. They believe your word. They trust what you say, no?
I mean, I am gonna play DPS Cloak and Dagger. I'm gonna win. As long as we don't lock Widow and jump off the map, we'll win the game. But people lock Widow 30% of my game.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Wait. Wait.
Also, who is 10?
Wait. Yo, how is this Celestial, bro?
Yeah.
What? God, bro. Oh my God, these games today are so...
Trying.
I see it. We will win this game if we just try. I will hard carry if all six of us try. I want to win this game more than anyone else here.
What's up, DJ? Appreciate that.
Round one.
Oh,
Vance gave me my power.
those games have been good.
Then regret it.
Oh, I have a
I
DPS Cloak and Dagger right now.
Roshan got toxic? What are we talking about? I did unranked till we won above all doing this in season 6.
It's a
Every
different
single
season,
minute,
don't know.
Every single day. But that's
Different
the secret.
season.
As long as you fear that, you won't let it
So
happen.
the game chat actually play Blade. Oh, do you want to play Blade?
The
Oh,
battle
well.
starts in 5,
It's too late, but
3,
I would have gave you if you wanted it.
1.
Alright, lock.
I didn't see his message. Oh my fucking God, it's Penny again. Yo, I'm going to lose my shit. I can't play my character, bro. It's Penny again.
Okay.
Is that guy hacking? That dude just one-shot my backline.
Whatever you must do, Spider Zero, we will get you there to do it.
Got you, buddy.
I like the cold.
Like, why me, bro? What happened to yesterday's matches? We won like every match yesterday except like 3 or 4.
Good card, good card. Oh, card, good card. Oh, card, good card. Stay card, stay card, stay card.
God, bro. All of a sudden today I get like straight anti-dive and a DPS Cloak and Dagger, bro. He wants to be quirky for some odd reason. He just wants to do a quirky Cloak and Dagger to one above all for some odd reason.
I just won, big. Oh my god, nice.
Oh my goodness.
You can beat what you need to. Don't lose that.
What? Why did my camera just do that? Did you guys see that? That was so weird. My camera just like jerked downwards for some odd reason.
Double kill.
Shot, man, shot.
You can do that? Wait, no, this character is so low tier. You can do that? No, send it to KP Express. Did you see that? She froze me after I ulted and my ult got canceled.
The stakes just got raised.
Reed Richards ready for advance.
You can do that? What?
Hell yeah.
No, bro. No, bro. This character is so bad, bro. Would I put him on the tier list? B? Bro, he's going back to C, bro. What? Why can you do that? She froze me after my ult came out, and I lost my ult. It didn't damage because of it.
Only 60 seconds left. I am ready to put on a show.
That's so dumb. What? I have never seen that before.
Blinded 1 HP. I just blinded 1 HP. Nice.
I'm so pissed. Dude, I didn't. What? It didn't get canceled. No, it didn't damage her. Magic was sitting in my ult. It didn't damage. The after slash is just voided. It did get canceled.
Down to 30 seconds.
Because I got frozen and it didn't damage anyone inside my ult anymore.
The vehicle reached a checkpoint.
That's gotta be a bug. And that's gotta be a bug. There's just no way. That's gotta be a bug. There's just no way it isn't.
That's 3.
Cause what? That makes no sense.
Go back to point. Nice job.
Journeys toward the shrine of the Weaver.
There's no way that's not a bug. What's my peak viewership? Like 4K, I think, or something. I don't remember. It's like 4K or something. From like ABA update day or something. Game was full of bugs. ABA 20? It might have been the 20 I ran. I don't remember.
Stay there. Keep going.
I'm pretty sure it was update day because I remember every update day I get like 3K.
This is real firepower.
Whoa. 1. Nice. Double on fire. Blinding 4 now.
Yo, can I hit a dash?
You should die. Blinding again. 4 glow, blinded.
God, these guys are just moving, bro. Ooh, I hit. I went to the back line. Fuck you guys. Yo, don't freeze me. Wait, you weren't supposed to actually freeze me.
Could use some help.
Oh, my back line is dead.
I was born ready.
No, I'm so dumbfounded by what happened. Like, are you serious?
You're not in this alone.
I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened. Like, I'm actually so speechless.
The darkness.
Behold the god of thunder!
Yeah, right? Shoot him. Guys. Shoot him. Nice.
Okay, what did I miss in chat?
Almost there.
How do you get rivals to stream so smoothly? What do you mean? My game? Hold on. I keep dashing at a wall.
On a show.
You guys are moving so much. There's so much snow on my screen. Who am I supposed to fucking fight?
Down to 30 seconds.
Oh my god, I tried to anticipate that. Oh, that sucks. But let's get him off the point. Or not.
Let the devil out!
I can't hear shit. I can't hear shit. I can't hear shit. God dead. I right clicked. What? Okay, whatever. I right clicked, but whatever.
The current score is 1-2-0.
I don't stream. I stream at 1440p, and also I don't stream with the same computer I game on.
All the difference.
A fight to end.
So I don't have to worry about rivals taking up so much resources from my streaming. So my game looks really smooth. Yo, Scarlet, thanks for the follow. But yeah. He's streaming from his yacht right now. And banned.
Round 2, go!
This match is so cursed. So much unfortunate things are happening. Okay, bro, whatever. We gotta lock in. Hey, at least they don't got a penny anymore. I can actually play Blade.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds.
I don't care if I win or lose. As long as I get to play Blade, I'm chilling, bro. I mean, I do care if I win, but like, it's not what I'm playing for. It's not the primary focus. The primary focus is improving. Curse of the DPS cloak. Yeah, that guy's probably still DPS cloaking.
The battle starts in
I'm avoiding him
5,
after this.
4, 3,
I'm not gonna report him, but I'll avoid him.
1.
Like,
Here they come. The raccoon's beacon is scrapped now.
okay. Well, my team gave up, so there's that.
Nice kill.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
This guy's literally just sitting in cloak the whole match. Like, actually.
You're lucky I was here.
I miss Japan.
Back in the game.
I'll go back to Japan.
One shot.
Stop that vehicle!
It's somehow dangerous.
Slice and dice.
Oh my god, why is there a BP anti-diving? I mean, peeling. I ain't never seen that. There's a BP peeling. It's so rare. In awe of my tism. Or T1ism? That's tism, right?
He's
I think that's what this is. Bro, like, this cop is actually so annoying, bro. I can't hit nobody. Can't brawl. I can't brawl, bro. There will be no brawling. And this dude is still sitting in cloak form instead of healing me. Oh, we basically have... Oh, no, we have 2 healers again. So I insta ban Daredevil. No, Daredevil's not the problem. It's just we have a DPS cloak. And for some reason, this guy wants to be quirky and play DPS cloak. I don't know why, but
Back in the game.
This is real firepower!
They got the numbers on us. Silver bullet.
that guy's dead. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hell yeah.
DPS cloak. I'm dead ass. We have a DPS cloak.
You cloak.
They hit a checkpoint. Now my
It's like I don't know why he wants to do this, but whatever. Yeah, he's just DPS cloak, no dagger. He's playing cloak, no dagger.
Rank up.
Please,
DPS only cloak.
Like, that's why my teammates are tilted.
That's right.
They just stole my final.
Hey, go do this shit in quick play, man.
You not rank 1 Blade, and you not rank 1 in my chat. What actually rank am I? I think I'm like 7 right now. I don't know what I'm at. I'm gonna get harassed later. Harassed later is crazy. Oh man.
Tremble before fast.
Okay, well, this guy is just unkillable. It's not worth doing. Oh, our healers are dead. Forgot BP killed them all. Oh my god, he actually threw a bubble. My DPS cloak actually threw a bubble. My DPS cloak that's playing
Okay.
DPS cloak into Daredevil and Black Panther.
You think I'm afraid?
Yeah, I'm the only healer. I'm the only healer. We lost.
Listen, we lost. Hell yeah, we lost. We have a DPS cloak. I'm not playing to win. I'm just playing to survive. God, bro. Such an easy win. We just throw it away. I don't get it. Thing is, it's crazy part is that we're almost winning too. I'm starting Rivals, I recommend Punisher and Namor Sora. Any other suggestions? Play whatever character you think is cool. But if you want a suggestion, I would say Star Lord.
Yourself.
Yo, did he just?
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
Yes, cat. Oh my fucking goodness, bro. This game is so unserious. This game is so unserious, dog. I swear to God. Oh my God. This calm ass music and then you just hear that. Oh my goodness, bro.